Okay, that's a common phrase in Euphoria. This season, everyone is going through an identity crisis, and I mean, who is not? And the old dilemma between good and evil seems to be among the characters all the time. Am I a good person? And how do I know that? We all make mistakes and have regrets in our life, and it's very common for us to seek validation and answers in the people around us and in external sources. But this makes sense until a point. Society is quick to judge, we all know this, and especially groups of people who were once stereotyped like the mean blonde girl or the angry Latina or the just best friend big girl. And they all come with different types of prejudice, especially when it's a minority group, things get heavier and a lot more serious. And Euphoria is a show that still uses some of these stereotypes, but tries to go deeper into them, revealing extra layers and bringing more complexity to those characters. Rue is the best example for that. She could easily be a supporting character, just a drug addict girl minding her own business, but instead, she's the one who's presenting us the whole story. But okay, rewinding today's topic. It's easier to judge than trying to understand. This sentence gets more intense if the other person is different from us. As Zendaya says, Euphoria is a show that is made for the audience to put themselves in the shoes of others, especially those who are very different from us and we can never feel what it's like to live in their skin. And I'm sure a large part of the audience doesn't struggle with drug addiction or has struggled, but Rue is a very relatable protagonist for most of us still. And why is that? She's a teenager girl with anxiety, depression, and a sensible soul. She lost her father in a very young age, and we have seen before how many meds she has taken since she was a child. So, in the eyes of society, she's not normal. She doesn't work right. She's somebody with malfunction. So, for anyone dealing with mental health issues or destructive behavior, suicidal thoughts, that's definitely the episode, in my opinion, that hits the hardest. Here we face the consequences of all the inner abuse, the external violence you end up doing, and how you can't go back. You just have to keep going, forgiving, trying to be better, accepting yourself and your pain. And that's damn hard. I had a mixture of triggering feelings and turning points just by watching Rue going through it. And in the end, is Rue a bad person? After all she's done to her family, to herself, to Jules, to Faz, or is she not just a villain? The question for me starts in a radical way. In the end, like what does that mean in the end? And we begin to see things more clearly when we know the context. The same goes for people like Cole and Nate, two guys who were considered the villains, the bad guys. But also, Rue is not the victim either. Look at Gia, her little sister, for example. So full of issues that she keeps for herself in order to not stress her mom even more. She has to see her sister committing disturbing things right in front of her, and she feels helpless about it. And Gia is also a teenager with the whole package. Is she a good person by doing this? Is she doing good by doing this? I don't know if these questions make sense anymore, for real. And we can start to bring this topic and reflection to our daily lives. Because people tend to reduce other people to a small moment of their lives, as Bruce says, an ugly one. And that's so true, especially in times of social media and websites. The truth is, the Western world loves a story of good versus evil. No matter the situations, we all tend or are forced to look at things as if somebody is right and consequently the other is wrong. None of them can be both. And that's not healthy at all. So when Cassie cheated her best friend by dating her ex, or not so ex boyfriend, and we'll never know, is she being a villain or the protagonist of her own story? Or when Kat decides to lie to Ethan instead of just saying she's not happy with the relationship. Is she acting right? That's another word I hate. Again, these questions and this kind of thought that only see black or white instead of the whole rainbow reduces a person to something that can be measured, and then we are free to judge it and condemn.
And this shit was never my place.
Episode 6 of season 2 was totally an after the storm episode, since episode 5 put us on the edge. Episode 6, it's a relief from all of that tension. But it doesn't mean it's a softer or a caring episode. For me, it was even harder to watch.
If I'm being honest about who I am, I'm a liar, a thief. I'm violent, abusive, manipulative.
And let me know what you think. I would love to hear it. This is a show that is very rich for debate and I think is made to be that way, to propose exchange between people and to provoke feelings and thoughts and reflections about our lives and how we live them.